what, on that point, I know this is completely separate, but I just remembered a WhatsApp message I once received, right, from a brother. And he sent me a WhatsApp message, and he was talking about this question that was asked to this scholar, and the scholar replied, right, something like that. But it's the quote that I found powerful, and he said that this scholar, said, I find that the time I commit the most sins is when my belly is full. This, in the sense that he said that, and I would never related it before this. He said that when I satisfy one desire, it makes me want to satisfy more desires. Like I've satisfied the desire of food, and actually that shocked me because, bro, how often do we satisfy the desire of food? Probably like sometimes, maybe every day. Bro, how often is it like, bro, you know what? I'm just really craving this thing. Bro, I'm guilty of going, you know what? I'm craving this thing. Let's just jump in the car and do a drive-through. Why not? Yeah, which is fine, bro. But what you've done there is, if you take the food aspect out of it, you've satisfied the desire. You've got, I fancy this, let's do it. And it's like, right, it's easy to satisfy a desire. What's the next one? Actually, that shocked me. That really benefited me, man.
What is, you're dealing with the same parts of the brain.
Right.
It's another thing. We make sure we emphasize people's diet, people's sleeping routine. And it's all to do with, for instance, the brain chemicals, right? The dopamine, for instance. Right, dopamine, you get, you release dopamine when you have a chocolate, when you eat, when you might drink a fizzy drink, when you exercise. Endorphins. Likewise, when you're watching pornography, you're having intimacy, you're also releasing these hormones. So they're all interrelated. You get it? And people do mention this, and that's why I recommend that people really, be careful with the caffeine and sugar intake. A lot of recovering addicts, they will quit caffeine and sugar because they say that it seems to trigger the same part of the brain that deals with the drug addiction.
How do you use that part of the brain for good? Example, how do I use that and become addicted to working out? I'd love to be addicted to work. I hate working out, bro. I hate it. I see the benefit in it. I got to a point where I was, but it's hard, bro. And when you fall off it, how do you use that?
I'm addicted to working out. Alhamdulillah, like gym, right? Whether at times it was boxing and so on. Initially, it's hard, isn't it? Right? So you have to go out your comfort zone, and that's another thing. Like with addicts, they're very comfortable being in that kind of bubble, the comfort zone. You have to learn to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And sometimes you just have to push yourself. For instance, if I give you my, experience, gym initially was hard. Initially, 10 years ago, I had to go with friends. And a lot of times I'd be like, I don't want to go. My friend would push me. Again, environment as well. But alhamdulillah, I got to a place after a year. Now I've been training for about 5 years on my own.
Okay, but my point though is that these desires that we're talking about, pornography, food, etc., ones like that, the reason we are so attracted to them is because you get an instant hit of dopamine. It seems like you don't get that instant hit of dopamine with things that are actually good for you, right? Like, how can we get an instant hit of dopamine by going to the gym? It's prolonged. It's you have to train yourself to have what is it called? Gratitude. What do you call it? Not instant gratification, but delayed gratification, right?
Yeah.
But is there not a way of getting instant gratification with good things? I'm thinking out loud.
No, there is. So I like what you mentioned. I want to address this concept. So even Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said that if a man was given a mountain of gold, he would want another one and another one, and nothing, would put that desire to an end except the turab in the ground, except I eat death. So the point is, what I'm trying to say here is that generally there's a natural inclination for more. The more you feed your desires, the more you're going to want more.
Yeah.
So I'll be example from even the most minute things. You might have a meal in front of you. The way the brother's eating that meal so quick, you can link it to a desire problem. Well, there's water. He drinks it so much. Like there's something behind that. Do you understand? That generally would have ripple effects or sort of effects on other parts of his life. Point I'm trying to make, bro, is that really you need to understand is that real richness, real pleasure, as we were saying, bro, is coming down to the crux. Is being. Ghina nafs is being content. You know why? Because Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said in the hadith, whoever's greatest concern is the dunya, جَعَلَ اللَّهُ فَقْرَهُ بَيْنَ عَيْنَيْهِ. Allah would put poverty in between his eyes. Meaning that he has houses, he has assets, but he still fears poverty, he still fears the future. And then Allah will scatter his affairs and nothing of the dunya would come to him except that which is written for him. But listen to this now. Imagine now you change your whole mindset. You change it now. وَمَنْ كَانَ ومن كانت أكبر همه الآخرة, and whoever's main focus is the akhirah, جعل الله غناه في قلبه. Allah will put richness in his heart, because it's true richness is contentment, is to be content. Do you understand? To have boundaries when eating, bro. Even when eating the smallest of things, bro. Remember, we're not even programmed to have boundaries when eating. But Islamically, we are encouraged to do so. Remember, bro, there's a sunnah way of eating. But when we go and munch with the brothers or with the sisters, as in the sisters with the sisters, or you just go out, you eat till you're full. That's not encouraged. So what is that? Even these small things, they have effects. Because what is, we're feeding our desire, and as you said, bro, that leads to another desire. And what is it? We become desire machines. We become people that are enslaved to our desires, when really we have to channel them like we channel everything else. Like the time we spend on our TV, the time we spend studying, the time, everything needs to have a balance. And likewise, our desires need to have a balance. And only when we balance them would we be successful.